And so the more five-star reviews you have and the more time in business and the more quality of everything else, the more you will go up. And so like every other lesson I'll teach on lead gen starts with the service you provide. You need to be able to get a lot of five-star reviews, make people happy, and you will organically end up higher and higher and higher as a part of the Google Guaranteed process.
Welcome to the I Fired My Boss franchise podcast. My name's Dan Claps, founder and CEO of Franchise Playbook, a franchisor platform where we create, own, and operate dynamic franchise brands in the mobile services space. And my life's goal is to help people just like you fire their boss and become a business owner.
And I'm Christian Dadalak, top franchise consultant and co-founder of Real Franchising, a leading franchise consulting firm. And together, we're on a mission to help people fire their boss, hire themselves, and live the American dream through franchise ownership.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the I Fired My Boss podcast. Very excited to dive into this topic around lead generation, specifically on home service ads, local service ads, specifically Google Guaranteed or LSAs as they're called. We're going to spend about 20 minutes on just this topic and a few other topics around lead generation. You're going to be getting a lot more of this from me on the lead generation front. But first off, if you like this podcast, if you're enjoying it, if you've listened before, I'm on a mission to get us to 100 reviews. Please hit the 5-star review and leave us a review if you're enjoying the content. If you're new to the podcast and if I help you in any way today, then at the end, please do me a favor and leave me a review. Leave us a review. It would mean the world to me. It would help a ton. Help me get from 39 reviews to 100. This is coming up on 132nd episode. Want to get this to 100 reviews and then start really overtaking the podcast world for franchising and home services. So let's jump into this. So how do you master local service ads for your home service business? Well, what I will tell you is the insider strategies that I've learned are instrumental to growing a business if you're able to do local service ads. Now, not every industry can. And by the way, what is local service ads? Let's take a little history lesson. So at a time, you used to be able to go on to the Google and you'd be able to create all kinds of different content on your website and blog posts. And if you created the best content, Google would put you at the top of the Google page. And as a home service provider, people would Google good home service companies near me. And they would go and they would see the organic content at the top page, and they would go and then they would fill out the form, and being on the top of Google was key. And over time, that has changed. Google is not your friend. At the end of the day, they are a business and they need to make money. So what they saw was there was ways to monetize through, obviously there's local, sponsored ads, but eventually they realized that they were losing business to people Googling home service companies near me and then going to those portals like Angie's List or Thumbtack or Home Advisor, right? And instead, Google essentially said, well, we could do the same thing. So the whole point of Google Guaranteed is to match homeowners, the consumers that are on Google, right? Their customer with home service opportunities, but it's a Google Guaranteed. It's Google saying, hey, these companies here at the top are worth using. And when you have a Google guarantee, it means that you're actually in the contract with Google saying if anything goes wrong, you guarantee up to $3,000 to be Google guaranteed for these jobs. And also what it's saying is they're going to vet you. So Google guarantee, they're putting the home service contractors through a background check and ensuring that they have all the credentials and they have everything that they need to do. And then basically putting the home service provider at the top based on the amount of 5-star reviews and service. And so the more 5-star reviews you have and the more time in business and the more quality of everything else, the more you will go up. And so like every other lesson I'll teach on lead gen starts with the service you provide. You need to be able to get a lot of 5-star reviews, make people happy, and you will organically end up higher and higher and higher as a part of the Google Guaranteed process. And so like anything else, you could try to fake it. You could try to do things to trick the system, but your best bet is to get as many reviews as possible. Reviews equal revenue, right? Now, the next thing that I'm going to mention about this is you also need to understand that if you're on Google Guaranteed, Google is actually going to start to analyze the process. They are going to look at how fast you responded to the lead form that's filled out, or how quickly you answered the phone. If you did answer the phone, and how often, if you're answering every time, and they're tracking that, and they're going to lower your rating and lower you on the rotation of Google Guaranteed based on not answering the phone fast, not answering quickly, not converting leads, not getting 5-star reviews, etc. And so Google will actually reward you the better you do. And that's on you to make sure that you're performing at a great way, answering the phone, etc. But I honestly think of LSA ads as like your secret weapon for dominating the local market. And, if you're, in HVAC, you're a plumber, you're obviously carpet cleaning, this is a great place to dominate. So let's touch on this a little bit. What I love about LSA is, it's a pay-per-lead model. You're not paying for clicks. You're paying for actually people that fill out the form or ask to call. And that Google Guaranteed badge really does build trust with consumers. It's interesting. If someone's reaching out on Google Guaranteed and they fill out a form, you should respond right away that you're Google Guaranteed and make sure you emphasize that, because it's creating trust with customers. It's above traditional search ads, and really it gets above even organic results because it puts you at the top of Google. And when customers are seeking a local service, they want convenience, they want quick action. LSAs really show that they can get that. And that's where you really want to be, the top of Google. In my opinion, Google Guaranteed is the best. So let's kind of talk through like the setting up for success 101. So you got to verify your business. You got to complete your profile. You have to have photos and service areas and business hours and have your GMB completely optimized. Remember, your GMB page is truly your storefront. And what you need to do is you need to explain what the business does very clearly on Google. And then you need to go through the whole credentialing and background check that Google puts you through, and trust factor and checking, etc. Now, you have to not only get Google reviews, CAB reviews, there's actually a link. Very few people realize there's a little secret. There's a link specific for Google Guaranteed jobs. And so when you go to the home, you need to get the Google review and the LSA review using the link. And you've heard me say it before, bringing the QR code with you to the job and asking for the reviews right then and there is key. We did that at Voda and our reviews went up 47%. I highly recommend asking for these reviews, using a QR code, using these links right there on the spot. And so now, what you need to do with the LSA too is you need to set up a realistic budget. But my recommendation is to set up as much as possible for the weekly cap. You will not hit the weekly cap anyway, usually. And so I would set up as max budget per week as possible and put your lead cost as high up as possible. And another thing I truly recommend, and this seems simple, but very few people do it. When people fill out the form, have your CRM, utilizing a Chirp or Hatch or some other system, send out text automatically. You want to text leads right away so you can hopefully book them much faster through LSA. LSA is a powerful tool for home service businesses because it's connecting with high intent customers, but you're going to have to provide a high level service of answering the phone and answering quickly. And really your success lies in setting up your profile properly, tracking performance, and really continually optimizing and identifying what's working and not working. So let's kind of switch gears here from this, kind of LSA topic to really understanding that LSAs are all about CAC, which you hear me talk about, your customer acquisition cost. So let me do a little search here. What is the average cost of a LSA lead? So across industries, now this is for many different industries, but it range from 25 to 45, but in competitive markets, it could be more like, in legal service, it's $100. Now you're paying more for the lead to get a more interested person, right? This is a high intent based person. They're going to Google, they're Googling, they need a service. There's really nothing better than that, right? It doesn't matter, as you've heard me say, if a lead is $1, $10, $100, or even $1,000 a lead. What matters is your CAC, your customer acquisition cost, and your lifetime value, your customer lifetime value minus your CAC, right? That's what's going to give you your operating profit on the lead. And so you have to understand, like, how a customer acquisition cost is less about I spent $5 a lead, $10 a lead. It doesn't matter if you bought 10 leads and they were all $100. For example, if you bought 10 leads for $100 and literally 9 out of 10 never answered you, but one did, and you made, $3,000 and you spent, $1,000 or 10 leads. What did I say? 10 leads at $10. 10 leads at $100, right? And you spend $1,000, and let's say your average ticket was 5,000, and literally 9 out of 10 leads didn't answer, but the 10th did, and you booked a $5,000 ticket and you spent $1,000. You don't spend time saying, I spent $100 on these other leads. I need a credit. These leads aren't working. $900 was a waste of money. You can't look at it like that. You have to look at it as my customer acquisition cost, 1 out of 10 is, I close one, that's $1,000 and I make 5,000. That's a 5-to-1 return. That's a solid return. Very solid on internet marketing, especially when you're a brand new business. It's the same thing with any price point. If the lead even was $1,000, right? And let's say you were closing 1 out of 5 of those leads and the average ticket was $10,000, right? Well, let's use a bigger, the average ticket was, $25,000 and every $1,000 lead, every 5 you were closing, you spend $5,000 to make $25,000. That's a strong return. Even if 4 out of 5 of those leads were garbage, if one closes on the average. And I know that's a tough pill to swallow, but that's how CAC works in any business. And it's just the higher the average ticket, the higher the lead cost and the lead cap is going to be, right? Relative. It makes sense. You're not going to save your way to making this kind of money. It's the same thing. If you're running Facebook ads on a $4 product, your cap typically is going to be $1, right? If it's a $10 product, it's going to be $2.50. If it's a $40 product, it's going to be $10 and you're going to scale up. But you can't look at every single lead and be like, oh, they're not working. You got to look at your CAC, and the higher the price to lead, the more that it's going to hurt when they're not a lead. But you have to understand that is just the business that you're in. If the lead provider is selling jobs that, you're closing 1 out of 5, you're spending $5,000, you're making $25,000 in this example, that's a good return. And you have to also understand it's an average, right? If you spend $5,000 and you do $25,000 and you spend 5,000 and you get a 25,000, then you spend 5,000 and you don't, that's not a failure, right? Because now the next 5,000 you do and your averages start to work out. You have to look at a larger kind of sample size. And that really is what's most important when it comes to LSA. So let's find a few stats here. I was going to pull up for the episode. Another little secret, another little secret with these LSA ads, you have to understand too, when you're starting out, your results are going to be a lot worse than 5 months, 6 months, a year into business. And so that's why you want to get as many of these jobs as you possibly can. You want to land them. The other way that you can really generate great leads is something that I'm not seeing enough of, which is really solid email marketing. What I would say is you want to be talking to, 5 people that can influence your business a day when you're in home services, right? So if you're a roofer, you have to identify who are the 2 or 3 best types of people and jobs that can influence my business, and then talk to 5 of them a day. And, I wouldn't go home until I met with 5 people. Maybe I went to a B&I, I went to a lunch, I knocked on the door of a property manager, for example. You have to see 5 people every day and build your Rolodex. And I would have my sales team come back with 5 business cards and validate them and put them into the CRM, because remember, you can't manage what you don't measure. And going out there and grassroots marketing is going to be key to lead generation. But another thing you can do is you can go to data sources. There's great data companies out there, Data Axle, Slintel, Zoom Info, Info USA, whatever. And you buy data of, in our case, property managers. And then you set up an email tool where you're marketing to these people. But you're not sending 10 emails a day. You're sending hundreds, if not thousands. It's all about volume when you're doing these types of campaigns. The beauty of automation, of being able to set up cold email campaigns through tools. And, just to be clear, you got to follow the laws and you got to follow the rules. But there's such great ways that you can reach out to property managers or plumbers or roofers or painters or whatever influences your business at scale through these data systems and through email marketing. Now, what I will share with email marketing is you don't want to be sending these crazy, emails out. You want to be sending subject lines that are short and sweet. I've actually found that 2 or 3 words work the best. And I actually make the email subject line lowercase, not all caps, or not, even a capitalized first, letter of the word. I like it to be lowercase. I like it to be 2 or 3 words. And I like to make the email super short. So my framework's like got time, literally got time without a question mark, with, not capitalized. And then it's like, hey, John, I'm in your area. I notice our businesses work well together. You got time for a quick call? And it's like super to the point, as if I'm sending an email to somebody. Like, that's what you need to replicate when you're doing cold email marketing. You can't try to make these novels. You got to have a hook. You have to have a little, thing. And you got to really, you're using the marketing email to get someone to talk to you. So like I'd put like got time. And then it's like, and these email tools can personalize things, right? So it's like, hey, John, wherever their name is. Hey, John, I'm working with a lot of roofers in the area, you got time to chat a little bit. I think our businesses can refer one another really well. Something like that. Super, super to the point. And then I'd follow up a day later, a week later, a month later, over and over and over, utilizing these tools, understanding that I'm not going to try to, hit 2 people a day. I'm going to try to hit, 200 people a day. And there's going to be a compounding effect because that's going to work on an automated way through email tools, email cold marketing. Woodpecker.io is a great one. It's one I'm a big fan of. Woodpecker.io is a good email marketing tool. And that's where you're going to start to kind of nurture and create leads. Because remember, there's only 4 ways to generate leads in any business. There's 4 levers you could pull. There's one-to-one warm. There's one-to-warm outreach. There's one-to-many warm outreach. There's one-to-one cold outreach, and there's one-to-many cold outreach. One-to-one is B&I, networking. I know you, you know me, you refer a friend because you trust me. That's one-to-one. You do that through the Chamber of Commerce, the Rotary Club, the B&I, the networking after work, the baseball games that you go to with your kids. Like that's one-to-one referral warm. Then you've got one-to-many warm, which is Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and posting content. And you have to remember, you have to give more than you ask. You don't get on there and you start selling. What you do is you get online, your Facebook and your Instagram, et cetera, and you give value. And you give more away in value than you try to take. Like 51% of my time is giving and, 49% is receiving. Like that's the goal. I want to give it away. Like right now, I'm spending time. I have a million things to do at Voda, but I want to give value to my audience. And when I give, more comes back. And that's just the reality. And you'll notice that I have nothing to sell to you. Right? It's give value and I give value here and then I end up getting value somewhere else. And the more you give, the more you get. And there's a real thing in giver's gain. And that's what they say at B&I, right? Business Networking International. When you join those types of groups, the more you give in the network, the more you get out of the network. And giver's gain is a real thing. And so when you're doing one-to-one warm, you're going to try to build value, right? If I meet somebody and let's say I'm in B&I and I meet with a plumber and I meet with them, I say, hey, how can I help your business? Who's your ideal referral? And I think about how I can get him or her a referral and I get them referrals. Eventually that's going to come back to me, right? Giver's gain. It's the same thing online. The more you give out to your audience, of your warm audience of your Facebook and your LinkedIn and your Instagram, the more that will come back. And then the third leverage, you've got one-to-one cold outreach. That's cold emails I just mentioned. That's, direct mail campaigns, that's cold calling, that's LinkedIn message automations, reaching out to people that can influence your business. And again, it's not about doing a little bit of this. It's about doing more, doing thousands and multiplying it every day. And then you got one-to-many cold outreach, which is going to be all about, Facebook paid ads, Google paid ads, LSA ads that we're talking about, right? Putting dollars in the slot machine, if you will, that spit back a return. And then obviously in your industry, you can buy leads from lead vendors based on the industry that you're in. And you need to really be doing all of those. If you're enjoying this, please do leave a 5-star review. I'd like to make these super to the point, super actionable. I've listened to so many podcasts where I got to skip ahead and there's all fluff. I just want to give you things you can actually take into your business. If you leave a review, what's the one thing that you got out of this podcast that you're going to take to your business today? And if you love the podcast, leave that 5-star review. We'll see you again on the next episode. Thanks again.
You're f***ing fired.
If you want to say those words to your boss, make sure you head on over to ifiredmybosspodcast.com and fill out the form to schedule a no-cost consultation. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend who might also want to fire their boss.